literally 10 minutes inland from the coast. And now this is what you get. You were a firefighter, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to get arrested, Walter?
That's down over there. So
oh my God.
I can start crying. It was so scary because...
So just over that hill is 18.5 million people.
And there's some eccentrics that live up here.
Fire ripped down here. Look at that. Helicopter pad.
If you can start it, you can have it.
Malibu property was cheap, which is some of the priciest real estate now, right?
Exactly.
There are apartments up here.
This is one of the last one I took because it was time to get busy.
Did you have the homeless situation back then, or not really? And it's just that game, and you got to keep on top of that. If it overcomes you, game over. So if someone isn't handy, they shouldn't be living out here.
That's right.
Downtown Los Angeles, fresh dusting of snow in the mountains, all the way out to the Pacific Ocean, and Santa Monica, where we're gonna start today. We're meeting with an old school local named Walter, who told me, Peter, Santa Monica was like a little village when I grew up there. And Walter's gonna take us into the stories and the old world here, but also bring us up to the mountains beyond, where he told me we have mountain lion, bear, deer, countryside living right outside of this swath of 18.5 million people. Is a completely different world, which Walter is going to show us. All right, let's do this.
When I was a kid, there was a boat ramp right here where you could back your boat in, and the ocean was right here. The sand is filled in that much, and of course that's 70 years.
Do you want to get arrested, Walter?
Not really.
So Walter, we're going to end up where? Up in those hills?
See the last little thing out there, the little flat top?
The last flat area?
That's
okay.
Point Doom, and that's about 2/3 of the way where we're going.
And then we go inland.
We go inland enough.
So as far as living here, where you grew up,
Right.
and living up there, two different universes.
Two different universes. This was built over a long period when the pier was demolished in the 82 storms to get the facilities rebuilt, to get the harbor office rebuilt. And the harbor guys, when they finally got their place, they said, oh, gee, this is great. We got a great view of inland. He says, there's a harbor department. We can't even see the harbor. We can't even see the ocean. So that's your government planning at its best. So I used to spend a lot of time out here fishing. They recommend not to eat any fish out of the water here now. In fact, there's one time a cod they say really don't eat because it retains a lot of the bad stuff.
If you're at a restaurant in LA and they say fresh caught fish, local fish, you don't want that dish.
Not in the rainy season.
Yeah, it's all murky now, huh,
Yeah.
from all that rain. This is some of the biggest rains in a long time, right?
They're talking maybe a 1,000-year storm. Plus, it's been 4 years since the fire, so.
Oh, okay.
There's two things that happen there. The fires, they caramelize the soil, and the first rains run right off. And there's no absorption.
Okay. That's what you were, a firefighter, right?
Yeah, in town here. Yeah. For 38 years.
You miss it?
Yeah, I go back tomorrow. But it was time to go. You never think there's a generation gap or all those things that we talk about, the new wave and stuff, but it's true, and sometimes it's time for the older guys to go.
So this is the same, huh?
Same. The only difference is, and I had a guy I went to school with, he lived up in one of the apartments up there.
There are apartments up here.
Yes, they were called apartments.
People were living up there in those rooms.
Down the hall bathroom, and maybe 1 or 2 rooms.
Oh, that's great.
They used to have the brass rings here too. Well, there was a dispenser out here, and as you went by, it grabbed the brass rings. And like every 20th or 50th or something was brass, the rest of them were steel. The brass ring, you got another ride.
Oh, okay. You remember the brass rings?
I never seen them,
Yeah.
Okay.
but I was told they had them
Yeah.
here. Can you imagine that now?
Well, the reason they stopped doing it is they got sued too many times for saying, well, I broke my finger, I got a scratch.
I fell.
Yeah.
You grew up here too?
I was born and raised here in Santa Monica.
Oh. Do you miss the old days at all, or not so much?
Oh yeah, it's so different now.
It was totally different back in the day?
Yeah, it was so much fun. It was so much calmer, the people, everything. Now you have to go out and worry about everything, you know, but it was so much fun back then.
One thing that's really had an impact, I think, on where people live, because Malibu area and the coast used to be, and Santa Monica as well, were not very desirable places to live because of the fog. We used to have fogs like London,
Right.
and those have gone away. So Point Dume and a lot of Malibu was really late to develop. The property was cheap. Since then,
Malibu property was cheap,
Malibu property was
which
cheap.
is some of the priciest real estate now, right?
Exactly. I remember as a kid, there was fogs where you drove with the door open. Somebody was watching, and you drove by the traffic lane with your door open.
Did you have the homeless situation back then, or not really? I just saw a tent under the bridge. Has it always been like that?
I don't think so. I think we had, that I remember as a kid, there were a couple of bums in the town, and they were just tolerated. There wasn't too many.
So when did it really start taking off here?
I got in the apartment in '74, and it was pretty full blown.
So it's not a new problem here. I thought it was more new in the last 20 years.
No, in fact, if anything, it has gotten better, but it's still, as a citizen, if I were a citizen of this town, it would be intolerable for me. I would say, no way. I'd be every city council meeting. Of course, they wear you down, you know. So this is called Sunset Park, and this whole area was developed for Douglas, because the Douglas factory was over in Santa Monica Airport.
What's Douglas?
Douglas Aircraft.
Okay.
And many of the World War II planes and some ground vehicles were built here. I remember from the Korean conflict, the top of the buildings, there were miniature towns built up there, but they were only about a foot tall.
Miniature what?
Towns with streets and everything. If somebody came to bomb, they didn't know it was Douglas.
If a pilot's looking down, he gets confused by looking at
He
that?
thinks it's a city. And they're looking to bomb the
manufacturing. They're looking to bomb the...
Yeah, the big things.
Gotcha.
The other thing they did too was little strips of tinfoil about that long twisted, and they'd spread them all over the city. They'd drop them, and it fouled radars for the enemy. This was kind of a dead-end street, and there was not so much traffic on the street. But they went from houses like that, which is very similar to the house I grew up in,
Okay.
to this. That's a $3 million house now, to these. And it's one 1730, that's 1740. So 1730, that's the lot I grew up on.
So
And that's probably
that was that first house we just saw, what you grew up in?
Yeah, there. Except for the fact they kept the old garage. I still bet you that's over a $2 million house.
What was the price back in the day for those original houses?
When my mom died, I forget what it was, late 80s, it was sold for $3 1/4. And I wanted to keep it, my siblings didn't, so. Growing up, most of this block was that.
That home right there.
Houses similar to that.
Okay.
There used to be a big mound of dirt in that place, and we used to go there and dig tunnels into it and play war on it and chase people around there. But the people in the care facility here loved it, and they'd come out in their wheelchairs and watch us.
How's crime around here, Walter? This is a nice, wealthy area. It's pretty chill, or?
No, it's getting worse everywhere, particularly in the isolated areas. Malibu and the hills, all the hills, LA hills, they're getting these isolated robberies that people would just never go to those places, houses before, because they're out of the way, they're easily detectable. There's usually dogs or animals, and people have guns. Those places are getting jacked now, still. I don't know the percentage, but I bet it's up hundreds of percent from 5 years ago. So this is Malibu, 21 miles of scenic beauty. It's scenic by definition of who's doing the definition, because in the summertime, this place is not particularly scenic. The hills are all burned off, and there's no greenery, and the telephone poles, and the traffic, and so.
But if you have one of these houses, you're looking out at the ocean.
Yes, it's nice.
Scenic for them.
And because of the beach problems along here, Some of these, for years, have been on rocks.
Oh, the beach has been washed away?
Yeah, and they're up to their bulkheads. And some places that have big beach that's gone away, they're putting bulkheads in so they can save their place.
So this is potentially bad real estate to have.
Yeah.
I mean, if that continues,
They're much higher maintenance, house maintenance too. The ocean itself, just the salt air and the winds and stuff, are destroyed. I mean, if you have a place that's painted, you have to paint it like every 3 or 4 years. None of the aluminum, steel, or any of the windows work. You know, they all get corroded out. That was where my buddy lived. This place right here, gray with the white trim. If I wasn't home, if I wanted to get a hold of me, I was there.
And how would you get all the way back to Santa Monica?
Bicycle.
Seriously?
Yeah.
What's that, 10 miles?
Yeah, 11, I think. The old Stingray bike with the butterfly handbars.
One speed.
One speed.
You were the original hipster with one speed. So this was just remote, 2-lane road.
Yeah, very remote.
Stop signs, no
This
traffic lights.
was called the Sea Lion, and they had an aquarium out in front, not aquarium, but a pond out in front with 2 seals in it. Bessie and something else, I forget. This is Billionaire's Beach. Now you got beach. You got probably 50 feet of beach. These are multi-billion-dollar homes. And you know, it's like a lifetime endeavor. They've been building this one place for like 5 years. This one here.
Oh, this one?
That's one house.
Wow.
4 beach lots.
Who owns that?
I think Eilerson. It was a 24-hour restaurant because across the street, the pier here, they used to have fishing barge. And there was a shuttle to take you out and back and forth to it every hour, except from midnight till 6. And we used to do that a lot in high school. Go to the barge and stay overnight on the barge and fish.
This is off limits now.
Yeah, that's the particularly off-limits place. This shares the same beach, but that also has inland security and stuff.
Do you think society is more private now than back in those days? Or was it the same vibe here?
There was no privacy here, as far as because of the kids.
Okay.
Garages and garages and refrigerators and skateboards, and whoever got them first got to use them. Johnny, does your mother know you're here? She's looking for you. Oh, yeah. I'll go home for you, son.
But back in the day, it wasn't super wealthy, or what? It's always been. No. Okay.
So Deer Creek.
This is where it starts.
The reason it's called Deer Creek is because if you're a hunter and you want some dinner, you want some deer on the table, come up here.
A lot of deer up here.
I don't know about right now. We're coming off of a 10-year drought in this area, but there traditionally was deer.
Oh, this gets beautiful. So, in an instant, you're basically in nature. Like in 1 second.
Yeah, and there's some eccentrics that live up here. Every fashion, color you can think of.
All right, guys, this is just literally 10 minutes inland from the coast. So you saw what it looked like on the coast, and now this is what you get. Very rugged, beautiful landscapes. I guess we're going up that way. Who lives up here, Walter? Is it a total mix of people?
Yeah, total mix.
All these homes?
I would bet that guy's a commuter or a retiree. We know these people pretty well. This is a horse farm. He's a property attorney, and
Okay.
she's a horsey gal.
So you can have horses, agriculture, everything back here.
Yep.
And this is Ventura County.
Ventura County.
Is that a lot different than LA County with that
Yes,
stuff?
yes.
So ranches have been up here for a while.
Yeah, this was the first dry farming area of the Santa Monica Mountains. There's a road up here which goes down and into the lowlands and Camarillo and back into the valley, which is the way everyone used to get here.
And it's a 1-lane road.
Yeah.
So just over that hill really is 18.5 million people, the greater LA
yeah.
basin,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
How crazy is that? Okay, so this is what the new properties are looking like, a lot of them, huh?
Yep.
Look at that. Helicopter pad.
That's phony. They can't get a helicopter pad. They say it, but can't. They'll never get permit for that.
They're marketing it as
there's
you
some
can get a helicopter pad.
Big money people out here trying to get helicopter pads. No, you can put one in, and it's something like you can use it on truly emergent basis as needed, or something like 3 times a year, and that's it.
Bob Dylan's wife is up there.
Yeah, that's got a beautiful view down over there. And that windmill up on top is for real. I don't know, they still use it, but it's where the well is. And
So if somebody wants a remote, beautiful place to live, has a ton of money, has to be in LA for work sometimes,
these are not
this
bad,
would be the
not
place,
bad area.
right?
Yeah. This was the original land grant.
From the Spanish
Yeah.
or the Mexicans?
The Spanish, I believe. And those were done at 460 acres, and that's called a section. And I don't know how that ended up being those measurements, acres. And those sections are over there.
And this was all native land before, right?
Yeah.
What tribe was this?
Chumash, I believe. They didn't put it back. It was kind of cool. Down here at his gate, an old grave, and there was a sign that said, "Here lies the last person that didn't close my gate."
You did Peace Corps in Iran.
Yeah.
In what year?
66, 68, 60.
Okay.
In Kuwait, in Iran, this old Jewish shopkeeper, you could buy scotch and Playboy magazines. So we load up as much as we could in a suitcase and go down to the port down there in southern Iran.
Bandar Abbas?
No, that's a different one. Maybe we'll
Kaish?
fly over to Kuwait City. It's like a zzz, 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 zzz. And it actually had sheep on the plane. It actually had a flame-throwing samovar in the aisle with freaking tea in a freaking modern jet. And then we go to our source there. First thing you do, you get off, you go give a pint of blood, because it was 10 dinars at the time. Dinar was $2.60. Then we go buy, well, the trips would usually be to get a camera or something, or a stereo or something like that.
So you're going to Kuwait to get some camera gear and make some money with your blood?
Yeah. Well, and then buy a boatload of cigarettes, because cigarettes are 9 cents a pack, and they had a high tax in Iran.
Okay.
So whatever we could stuff in there, and then sell the Playboy magazines and the scotch in Kuwait. And usually one trip we usually get one of our things, either a nice lens or a camera or something, and then get back on the plane and get out of there.
Because Kuwait was way more conservative at the time, because that was Shah's Iran.
Yeah.
You could buy Playboys or whatever, right?
So the big thing was probably the scotch.
What a beautiful place up here. You can see in the distance somewhat red rocks up there. Walter, very impressive.
Yeah, it's nice.
We're on Firefighter Drive.
Yeah. This is my old field find. I was in a guy's yard, and he says, "If you can start it, you can have it." So I started it, and after the fire, when they're putting the telephone poles back in, one of the Edison guys says, "I'll give you $7,500 for that thing." I should have taken, I guess, but I don't know. This is a diesel, 4-speed diesel turbo. Bonnie has this pet fox she feeds every night.
Pet fox.
Yeah. Well, it's a pet as far as it eats the food. And then it hauls ass.
So you have animals coming over the hill here?
Yeah, well, they're in the yard. Coming in.
Fox?
Yeah. Coyote.
Mountain lions?
Yeah. Bobcats.
Bears, no.
No bears.
You told me no bears. Okay, I got that wrong. I thought there were bears coming through here.
I think the Indians pretty much eradicated those.
Oh.
The white man came along and really took care of them, I think.
That was burned how many years ago?
4.
4. So that's the big challenge up here, fires?
Yeah. If you're afforded the luxury of flex schedule and you can always be around when needs be, then it's not much of an issue.
What do you mean, the fires?
Yeah. Because
What do you mean, what are you gonna do?
you save your property.
Just get a garden hose out here and water everything?
No, I've got a couple of small fire pumps and fire hose. You lay them out, and I have one that sucks out of the hot tub, and hook the other one up to the big tank, and just leave them running. Come on, I had those things running for like 9 hours. Dead of
So
fire.
what do you mean? You have a fire hose coming out here and it's just flooding the zone with water?
Just with a nozzle on it.
And you're just waiting for a flame to come around?
You'll work your way around and follow the flames. You don't put the fire out. You're never going to put that fire out. It's going to burn.
It's gonna burn.
What you're going to put out are the hot spots. Boney Ridge, the fire was way back over in there in the
Okay.
afternoon. This might even be the day before.
So how do you feel when you see that? You're a firefighter, so you're a little more used to it than most, right?
It kept getting closer and closer. It had already gone way down over there on the other side. So now it's right here.
Okay.
That's unburned. And chemical-wise, when it gets the right composition, it'll flash. That's what like flashovers are in buildings, because the chemicals composition is not right. The air, the fuel mixtures aren't right. And when that gets right, it takes off. So you got to be careful when you see that kind of smoke not to get too close into it. So this is one of the last one I took because I was putting the thing in my pocket because it was time to get busy.
Let me see that again. Oh my God.
Right, that's down over there, going down there. That's where the tractor down there burning.
Oh, that's right down there. So when it's smoked in like that, you're not like, I need to get out of here?
Yeah, but that came later on.
Okay, gotcha.
When we left, our neighbor was here, and he had crippled dogs, and they were in his car, and Bonnie was in her car, and they were going to stay, and at the last minute they go, we're not staying. I said, fuck. Okay. And I said, okay, I'll follow you. I'll be behind you. So they get down the driveway, and okay, get out of here, you know. So then the shit broke loose, and nobody knew what was going on anywhere. So Cody called the fire department in Santa Monica.
Yeah.
And used his good graces and said, can you send somebody out to check?
Cody's your son.
Yeah. When everything's calmed down and cooled over, there's still fire around. I had to come out and check every once in a while, but I see these lights. I was in the house. I see these lights come up here. There's a fire truck coming up, and there had been no fire equipment here whatsoever. What the hell's going on? So I come out here, and it was a rig, one of the brush rigs from Santa Monica had come out here, and the two kids that were on it had been on the job for quite a while, but they were one of my original trainees when I was a tower instructor.
Oh, great.
I said, what the hell? So I said, come on in. I'm watching Jeopardy and having a beer and having some spaghetti. You want some spaghetti? You know, what the? So that was after all everything settled down. He said, no, Cody was sure you were perished up here. Well, no, not quite.
So when the last big fire came through here, how many of the neighbors took off versus how many stayed?
That was the one, remember, so, oh yeah, there's like 30 houses up here.
Yeah.
15 people stayed, and one of those houses burned. And what happened to his fire pump failed. Of the 15 people that left, all of them burned except one.
Oh.
And that one had such bad checking in some of the windows that during the winds, the windows fell out, the glass fell out, and the thing got overrun with rats. And this place was tighter than a drum getting in and out for about a month.
Yeah.
And it's not their main house. They live in, it's like a weekender house, so they didn't even come back. But when they came back, they almost had to demolish the house because of the rat problem. There was rat turds and rat piss up the walls. All the cabinets, all the clothes had rat shit.
You have rat problems up here?
No, that was upset. The balance was upset. All the predators were gone and the rats are sticking around.
Oh, that's what happens with the fires, huh?
Yeah.
The balance is out of whack?
Out of whack, and there was gazillion. I have a little half tub, wine tub goldfish thing back there. I was getting 10, 12, 15 rats a night drowned in it. You know, for weeks.
Because the coyotes were gone? Or whatever's
the owls,
eating?
especially.
The owls.
Especially the owls. If they were in their normal places where they hide out during the fire, they probably made it through the fire.
Yeah.
Because the fire doesn't burn the ground.
It doesn't?
It does kind of. Where it's real brushy, it glazes the ground. So the first big rains are terrible because nothing sinks in. It all sloughs off.
So that's a writer's cabin?
Yeah.
Fire ripped down here.
Yep, went down there.
It missed the writer's cabin, obviously.
He had a crew of people. He had like 5 people they hired. And they went through and did the hot mop. As soon as the fire comes through, they go down.
Yep.
And the back half of that thing burned a little bit, and they put it all out, saved the stairs and a bit of the wall.
So what were you doing here?
So that tank there, the green tank,
Okay.
I hooked a fire pump up to that, which it is right now,
Okay.
and laid the hose out. It came down around in front of the house. And I put one in the hot tub, put that hose all around that side, and it just kept going back and forth to hot spots.
And it's just that game, and you got to keep on top of that. And if you keep on top of it, your house doesn't burn. If it overcomes you, Game over?
No, there comes a certain point where you go in the house. When it's totally untenable out here, you go in the house.
You go in the house?
Go in the house.
When everything is burning?
Yeah.
Why?
There's actual flames right here because you're not going to do it. It's going to get you.
The house is going to catch on fire?
No, well, no. That's as soon as it goes through, within, because it's howling wind. You jump back outside and get busy on the hose.
Okay, so you go in the house hoping it doesn't burn down?
Yeah, well, it won't that quickly. I had a fucking rabbit follow me in the house when I went in the house. A rabbit went in with me. I couldn't catch the little bastard for about a week. There's rabbit pellets all over the place, and he ate all the house plants. And eucalyptus trees over there just kept putting embers and embers. So I tried to douse the tree a little bit. It turned out to probably be a little bit of waste in water. But so I'm back there, and I turn around, and this whole corner over here is on fire. That's not as bad as it looked. There's flames shooting away because that thing was full of vine.
This tree right here?
No, this right here.
The house?
Right here.
Oh, you can see the charred wood up there.
Yeah, so that's the type of thing, unattended, will burn your house down.
A vine.
The vine, yeah, and then to that, because from the other side, there was flames going 15, 20 feet in the air. Later in the evening, I set the alarm for every half an hour. So if I fell asleep or whatever, every half an hour at least, I got up and walked around.
You stayed here the whole time?
Yeah. Well, you couldn't get in or out for almost 3 weeks. If you left, they wouldn't let you back in.
So you're well stocked. You have your food, you have your water.
I have a smaller generator that I ran for the pump and stuff, for the water pump.
So if someone isn't handy, they shouldn't be living out here.
That's right. Either handy or really rich with a really good source of dependable handymen.
Hello.
Hi.
Bonnie, your place is beautiful.
Thank you. It's old, but the people did, owners painted all the flooring. Thank God, I've always wanted wood floors, and these are already here. But everything was blend. It was black and beige. To me, depressing, and I saw it with the colors
Oh, you're popping in here. Look at that.
popping. And these windows, they have that beveled or blurred. They're from back east.
Oh, yeah.
They're all over, and I'm a bird watcher. And when I want to watch, it's like, they're attractive. I hate these windows because I can't see clear through them.
Oh,
but they're
okay.
still cool.
That's beautiful.
And that's the thing about this house. It's all windows, and I have so many pictures to hang, but there's no walls because there's so many windows in this house.
Right,
Nice.
and then you can wash your hands looking out over that. So, Bonnie, when the fire came, Walter said he's coming, doesn't come. How was that?
I can start crying. It was so scary because I was gonna leave, but I wanted to stay, and Walt goes, "It's time for you to leave." The fire came over the ridge here, and by the time he says it's time to leave, I turned around. This canyon here was totally aflame. So I left with my neighbor, who is not really from here. We went together, and I said to Walt, I said, "We're gonna go over back to his house." And by the time we went back to the house, that mountain there was solid flames. So we couldn't get out of here. So we went up the canyon and went out the back way. And I was 100% certain that Walt was gone because it was solid flames here.
Oh my
It
God.
was solid flames. And he's been through a lot, but I was like, but the night before, when I was in the garden, I saw the smoke and I went, "Oh my God," our neighbor goes, "What?" I said, "There's smoke over there." And Walt, in his mind, being a fireman, he started prepping. He was up the whole night on the couch, I think, figuring out what he's going to do because he knew the fire was coming. And I didn't think it was coming because it started way around Mulholland. But it went down to the mountain, and my neighbor, we went up to the top to see the flames. The sound was insane. It was so angry. So by the time I got back down to the house, within 7 minutes, it was on our property. I thought, okay, I'm going to still stay. And Walt goes, "It's time for you to go." And he stayed. He had a plan. I've seen a lot of fires in Malibu. I've been here my whole life. This one was massive and fast, and nobody could escape. The ones that did escape lost their homes. The ones that stayed, they saved their homes. That's one of those things I'm sure Walt told you. If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to die. If you know what you're going to do, because a fire's on a mission. It goes right over. And Walt knows that, but I didn't know. The intensity of it at the time was like, this house is gone, and he was gone.
Wow. How long did it take before you learned he wasn't gone?
Cody called a day or so.
So you were for a day thinking your husband was...
Oh, yeah, gone. And then some people from the fire department come from Santa Monica, and they came to check on him, and I found out that he was okay, and he goes, Walt's having a beer watching Jeopardy right now. I went, what?
So how did that feel once you heard he was okay?
Oh my God.
She went, damn, there goes the insurance money.
No. It was the worst moment of my life.
See if anybody's home. Anybody home?
5 to 15 rats out of that?
Yeah, every night. I kept on thinking, it can't go on. It went on for like 2 weeks.
Right after the fire.
Yeah. There they are. Oh, they can see. They can see way back here.
Thanks guys for coming along. And just to close on the crazy contrast that exists here, just over here is basically the population of a small country. And then we have this. If there's one lesson to be learned, it's things are usually more than they seem. All right, guys, thanks for coming along. Until the next one.